And now if you compare Romans 10:15, which we just did, to Isaiah 52:7, and ask yourself, in what ways do you understand the gospel to be the good news of happiness? All right, what would you say? In what sense is the gospel, that good news, a good news of happiness? Why instead of it could be called the good news of holiness, because Jesus makes us holy. It could be called the good news of righteousness, because Jesus makes us righteous. Right? Why would it be called the good news of happiness? Does it make sense to you that it is called the good news of happiness? Yeah.
Yeah, when you consider what He's done for us, and redeeming us, and forgiving us, why wouldn't you be happy about that? Holiness is happiness.
Good. You have thoughts? I grew up in an unbelieving home. And I came to faith in Christ. I had been very empty. I'd been sad. I was depressed. A lot of people wouldn't have known it. You know, I think a lot of my friends probably wouldn't have described me that way, but those who knew me best knew that there was a lot of sadness in my life. There were issues in my family, and my parents not getting along, and both of my parents had been divorced in the past, and there was a lot of insecurity related to their relationship as I observed it in the home. I would go out and look through my telescope and found myself crying, sobbing one night as I was looking up at the marvels of the universe, but I was on the outside. I had no clue what it was about, and that's not normal for a 7th grade boy who generally appeared to have it together to be experiencing that kind of emotion. But when I came to faith in Christ, when I was a sophomore in high school, my life radically changed. And the primary way that I would describe it is that the biggest change in my life was that I became a happy person. I had been, now, does it mean I never had to face depression again? Does it mean I never had sadness? Of course not. That's one of the things we're going to talk about. Happiness is not giddiness, and happiness has total room for grief and sorrow and all of this. So it's not this instead of that, it's this along with that. Paul says we are sorrowful, yet always rejoicing. Interesting that he doesn't say we are rejoicing, yet always sorrowful. What are we always? Well, we're always rejoicing because we have this supernatural reality in our lives of the salvation we have in Christ. We ought to be delighted about our salvation. We should be glad, we should be joyful, we should be happy, we should be merry about the salvation that is ours in Jesus, and that's why it's called the good news of happiness.